Hello! Thank you everyone for your support with our S2000 Buyer's Guide video. It is much appreciated. This time, we have put together a Toyota Supra Twin Turbo Buyer's Guide. We're going on 2 years of owning our Supra and it has been an awesome experience. In this video, we share a list of common issues and concerns for anyone considering buying a Supra. Okay, let's just jump right in. Alright, so when you're going to go buy a Supra, most likely they've replaced the speakers. If they have not replaced the speakers, those speakers are either dead or they're like one step away from dying. Now, if you look at this picture, this was a picture of my speakers. Yep. They were completely blown. And so replacing them was pretty easy overall. I ordered some speakers from Crutchfield. And the only hiccup I would say is that once you remove the door panel, the speaker is bolted on, but it is also glued on, so you're gonna have to pry it off. But besides that, if the Supra comes with original speakers, they're completely dead. Don't trust them, they're completely gone. You're gonna have to replace that 100%. So that's something you want to check for sure. Okay, so you see this goodie bag? You better make sure you get this when you buy the car. If you buy a Targa Supra, you're gonna want to make sure that you have this kit. This kit is to take off and install the Targa top. So let's see what's inside. All right, so we have the wrench. It's a ratchety wrench, which is really nice of them. And then we have the adapter. And then we have the 4 plugs for the that you could screw into the place of the Targa. So you want to check those out. You want to make sure that the operation is good. That looks good to me. Switch it over. That looks good to me. That looks good. Real critical. Make sure they have it. Okay, we talked about your nice nifty Targa kit. When you open this center console up, they provide you some sport roof installation and removal guide. Got a nice little 1, 2, 3 step procedures. But the most helpful thing is this little graph here, and this diagram. It tells you at what process or procedure sequence you should install the top at, and I think that's very helpful. And when you buy your Supra, this is more of an after purchase. You're probably going to be like, well, how did I put this on? They provide it for you right there. The Targa top panel has 4 mounting screw-in points and 1 locking mechanism. I recommend to inspect, remove, and reinstall the Targa top panel. Make sure you lock and unlock it with the toolkit provided from the manufacturer. Now, the 2 front bolts do have common issues. Let's go ahead and talk about that. These front bolts, one right here and one over here, when you have the Targa top off, you're going to want to inspect them because they get rusted and sometimes they're stripped out. You do not want to buy this type of car and then find out that they, tightened in or did something real quick, but once you buy the car, you're going to have to repair the Targa top. Take the Targa top off and inspect those bolts. Inspect the mounting points. Inspect the whole Targa top. Drive with it. Make sure it doesn't squeak like crazy or rattle like crazy. Okay, we're going to be talking about the AC. Now you're wondering like, okay, this should be a helpful tip, but actually it's just something really weird. And I never fixed it, it went away, but I talked to everybody about it and they're usually like, oh yeah, that happened to me. So when you put the AC on high, out of your vents is going to come out fluff, like green little insulation. And it happens to almost every Supra owner. And when it happens to you, you're probably gonna freak out. You're gonna be like, what's going on? What it is inside there is like it's like an insulation that has kind of deteriorated over time. And as you can tell, I just kept running it one day at high and I had to vacuum the car. Game changer, for real. The difference between the Series 1 1993 and 1996 headlights and the 97 and 98 facelift headlights is significant. Now, as you can tell, these are the 97 and 98 headlights and they have black inside, the chrome rims, and there's no side light. Now, I'm going to show you the difference real quick between the two. As you can tell, there is a difference in the way that they look. In my opinion, it changes the whole entire car. Okay, as you see over here, this is the license plate bracket. And we bought our Supra in California, so in California they have to have the front license plate, but here in Florida you don't. The only thing that I found out was that you really don't have an option once it's installed. These two bolts right here, once they're inside the bumper, they're drilled in there. So when you remove this, there's two noticeable holes in there, and so I thought that maybe I could fill them in with like a nice curved plug. I tried to, you know, see if that would work, but when I did that, they were just still noticeable. Because if you look at the bumper, you know, the bumper, it kind of starts arcing out, and so when those two bolts are drilled in there, there's no going back. And the only way you can fix it is if you go into the body shop and you have them fill it in and repaint it. So that's a pain in the butt. So when you go look at your Supra and it has a front license plate holder, just know that that's the reason. You just can't remove it. It'll actually need some body work. Here is a brake caliper from a Toyota Supra twin turbo. Now, the brake calipers do differ between the models. The naturally aspirated brake caliper, which looks like this, and the Toyota Supra twin turbo brake caliper, which looks like the one that I have, do differ. It is important to know the differences, and when you're looking to buy a Supra, it is going to be one of the first things, of course, you're going to look at, and just want to make sure that it does come with those brake calipers and that you know the difference between the models. TT caliper back here. You see I had these repainted. They look nice. I got the aftermarket sticker. Looks good. So you can't really expect a lot from a 25-year-old paint job, but at the end of the day, it all depends on how the owner took care of the car. When you go look at a Supra and you're about to buy it, you're going to want to ask the owner if it's the original paint. If it's not the original paint, I think you got lucky, because most of the owners with the original paint, their clear coat is dead. And I've had a couple comments, a couple of owners have said, holy moly, you still have your clear coat. And that's because you'll see the clear coat bubble up, you'll see it start fading, and it just comes with the territory. Now, if your car has been garage kept and some of the regular wash maintenance has been completed, you'll definitely benefit from that. Now, I had this paint corrected and one of those fancy coats applied, but you know, the paint technician told me that, you know, like, you're really coming to your lifespan of your clear coat. And even though I garage it, I know that sooner or later it's going to need to be repainted. So here we have the 2JZ GTE. Now, before we talk about anything, this is a buyer's guide, and I want to say with any car you're going to purchase, go ahead and get a compression test done. On this inline 6, doing a compression test is pretty easy to do. Just make sure you get it done. It'll save you a lot of headache, and you'll know that you're buying a healthy motor, or you will have one key factor knowing that the motor is pretty healthy. We've all heard, check the timing belt. Well, guess what? On this car, you better check it, because you want to make sure it was done. Otherwise, you're going to be paying the price, either by snap timing belt or by having to redo it when you're supposed to do it. Now, in my car, I made sure that the Toyota replacement sticker was there. But I'm a little smart. I got a few more French fries in my Happy Meal sometimes. And I wanted to make sure that this sticker wasn't put on by a shady person or a shady dealership. So I asked for the service records, and the service records coincided with the sticker, and I was happy about that. And that's a tip that a lot of people don't know. They put these stickers on, and they don't have any service records. And you can catch them in a lie. Be like, I want to see that service record. And that will help you out. Alright, now we know that this is twin turbo, so we have turbo here and then we have a turbo over there, and they get together and they make love and they send the air down there. Okay, the issue with these cars is that sometimes the turbo seals go out, and it's pretty common, especially if you had somebody who did some basic PPUs and put a boost controller. A good way to find that out, of course, is by checking to see if you have smoke, checking to see if you have, you know, oil in certain pipes. And that's one of the things you want to check out. A good indicator for a car, in my opinion, is when you turn on the car, it's not smoking. When you accelerate, it's not blowing out crazy amount of smoke. When you're going from a stop when you're accelerating from the stop, you know, there's not smoke. So I honestly recommend that when you go look at one of these to go by, that you turn it on and look at in the back, and most of the time it'll be fine. But go for a drive and have your friend come and drive behind you and see if there's any smoke coming out there, because I think that with the seals and the turbo, with the valve guide seals and the turbo seals, you know, those two things will be putting out smoke if they're bad. And of course, how they do it and the variants and the amount, it all varies, but definitely a good hint. Another common engine problem are the bad valve stem seals. They are in the engine, in the head. When they go bad, a common symptom is smoke from the exhaust. Now, it is easy to mistake this for what people would say is when they turn on the vehicle in the morning, they see a puff of smoke. And typically this might be humidity, moisture in the exhaust. Most of the time, if your valve stem seals are going bad, a symptom that is noticeable is when you're leaving a stoplight and you're going on an accelerator, you could see smoke coming out. Now, when purchasing a Supra, I recommend having somebody driving behind you, just as I did with the turbo seals, to make sure that there is no smoke coming out of the exhaust.
Okay, if you see right here, you want to make sure this quantum flux capacitor supercharger vortex intake is up to date. If it is not, you're going to be in huge trouble, because at the end of the day, it can cause time warp in the time continuum. So please check that.
Okay guys, so I wanted to end this video with a comment and an observation that I made. When I was sitting down to look at the recommendations and to look at the things that I wanted to say in this video, I realized that this vehicle is quite reliable. I've owned it for a couple years and it's been really good to me. And I think that the credibility doesn't just go to Toyota, but I think half of it should go to the owners. And when you go buy a Supra, I highly recommend that you buy one that was well taken care of. I don't want you to step in there and be like, hey, I'm gonna buy the Supra, you know, I don't have any history of it, there's no maintenance records, and I'm gonna be okay. I really don't think that that's the case. I think that you have to make sure that the history is accompanied with the reputation of the reliability of the car. If you really focus on finding a car with those two key points, one that's already there, but making sure that the history of the service is there, I think you're going to be happy. And at the end of the day, it's going to save you your wallet and it's going to give you less headache. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for the support. And when you get your Supra, I'm very happy for you, and congratulations.